the words of the Master. The words of the Master. This week, we're going to be talking briefly about Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 7 through 12, and also Luke 6:31. I think we'll just go a little bit at a time instead of just reading through the whole thing. We'll just read a little bit at a time. It's not many verses, but there's kind of things that we want to look at as we go. This is a continuation of the Sermon on the Mount. There's one more part to go after this, but this is part 6 of the Sermon on the Mount. We're going to begin in Matthew. Let's pull up book of Matthew, chapter 7. Read a little bit. We'll just go through a little bit at a time here and deal with some things here. Matthew, chapter 7. Let's just read, first of all, let's just read verse 7. Let's just start off with just looking at verse 7. Let me put this up on the screen here. Verse 7.
Matthew 7, verse 7. Excuse me. Ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be open to you.
Go ahead and read 8 with that too.
For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it shall be open.
Okay, very good. So I want to just talk about this just as an idea, just right there. Just these two verses, just as an idea, not thinking about the context, because the context is going to help us to understand everything that Messiah is saying. But it also changes the literal meaning, though. But I want to just talk about the literal meaning real fast here. If we look at these two verses, asking it shall be given to you, seeking you shall find, knocking it will be open. If you ask, you're going to receive. If you seek, you're going to find it. And if you knock, it's going to be open. And so, as just a general idea, I done went to somebody's house and knocked on their door. And wasn't nobody home. Nobody answered the door when I knocked. I knocked on the door, nobody came and opened it up for me. Mm-hmm. I done lost my keys before. I done lost my wallet. One time I lost my wallet, I had to get all new everything. I lost it all. I looked for it, but I lost it though. And I looked for it and I couldn't find it. When I worked for a certain medical place, I asked for some money, and then they didn't give me none. They gave me a little bit, but not enough. You know, I've asked many times for things, and didn't get what it was that I asked for. And Yeshua is saying, if I ask, everyone who asks, they receive it. Everybody who seeks, you find it. If you knock, it's opened. And so it's interesting when we look at this over here, that it seems like you can't be talking about here just in general. Right? This can't just be ask, seek, knock in any situation, and you're going to receive, find, and be opened unto. Mm-hmm. It can't be that. Right? Because we can easily put this to the scientific test and perform an experiment and see sometimes when you lose something, and you seek it, you can't find it. Sometimes if it's not something that's lost, if it's just something that you're trying to find out, you can look, you can seek, and not find, right? You can knock and something could not be open to you. Sometimes you go.
They got the ring,
Huh?
so that people got the ring, and you go knock on the door, and they answer on the ring, and they say,
I ain't coming to the door.
I'm not coming to the door.
I'm not opening it.
I'm not opening the door for you.
I remember. I don't know. I don't want to say that is when the ring first came out. It's when I first found out about it. I was kind of going door to door, and I was fixing people's services on their houses. And I went to these one person's house and told them what I was going to be doing. I would usually go to their house. I would knock on the door. They would answer or not answer. If they didn't answer, good, because I didn't want you to be home anyway because I'm about to turn your power off. But if they did answer, I would, tell them that, I'm about to do this thing. It's going to take me a couple hours, be without power, make the necessary things that you got to do on the inside. But this time I go to these people's house and they're talking to me. And then she says, well, I'm not home. I'm like on vacation. So it's fine. Like, you don't have to worry about it. And I was like, it was so like strange. It wasn't strange, but it was like cool. Like you could sit up there and talk to somebody, be on vacation and talk to somebody who's at your door. But I'm saying all that just to say, when you think about what it is that Messiah is saying over here, it's not just a general statement. In fact, he puts it in a context. But I'm saying that we have to be sure to keep it in the context that he puts it in, and not just think.
Check. It's not a blank check.
No, it's not. It's not a blank check. It's not just if you ask for something, you're gonna get it. It's not just if you seek for something, you're gonna find it. Let's look a little bit at what it is that these things are even saying over here. Let's see. If we look at this, what is it that in this verse 7 here? If we pull this up, ask. Ask, beg, call for, crave, desire, require. It's interesting that beg is part of this, right? And so to me, when I think about asking, it's not the same as begging to me. There's not a persistence necessarily attached to asking. But I think in the context over here, we can put begging with asking. I have a particular child that asks in this way, in this ahitio way of begging. This child asks and asks and asks until he's able to receive the thing that he's asking for. I know he knows who I'm talking about without even saying his name. But in the context of what it is that Messiah is speaking of over here, not only do we think about the context that he introduces, as we keep on going, but it gives us more understanding as to the type of asking that is needed for this to be something that is a true statement, right? Yes, it is. That child is in fact a he. Yes, I'm sure you know who that he is too. By the way. Okay, so The other thing I want to look at is seek. 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 To seek. This is interesting. By Hebraism, to worship Elohim. Okay, so this word, from a euphemistic standpoint, is connected to Elohim. And so if we think about this word here from a euphemistic, a Hebraism, a Hebraic euphemism, if we think about it, and by the way, Messiah was a Hebrew, right? And so his euphemisms are going to be Hebraic. All right. And so if we can find that within this word, then now we're able to see it's pointing us to the context that we see in the scripture here, right? It's pointing us to Elohim. And so it helps us to understand further. It further helps us to understand the fact that when we look at these scriptures here, and it's talking about ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, it's talking about Elohim. It's speaking about Elohim. Not just regular asking any old body, not me asking a person something, or not a kid asking a parent something, or not two equal parties speaking to one another, and it's speaking about things that have to do with Elohim. And knocking. Let's see what knocking. I think knocking is really just knocking. There's nothing deep about the word knock. It's just, just a regular knock. But I want to think about some things, because if we say now that the context here, let's finish. Let's read this up, because the cat's out the bag. So let's continue and read verses 9. 9 through 11.
Okay, verse 9. Or is there a man among you who, if his sons ask for bread, shall give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, shall he give him a snake? If you then, being wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more shall your Father who is in the heavens give what is good to those who ask him?
Yes, very good. So now we see Yeshua's talking over here. And he's talking about the fact that this asking, seeking, knocking is in regards to going before the Most High. Mm-hmm. And so we can think about this in terms of prayer to the Father. Yeah. And the seeking of truth, right? So we can think about this in terms of going before, petitioning to the Almighty and seeking after the Almighty. In that regard, now, we think about the idea of asking, seeking, knocking. If we're going before the Father, if we ask him, he's going to give it to us. If we're seeking to find the Most High, or we're seeking to for direction from the Most High, if we're trying to get a particular door opened by the Most High. But again, we have to think about the fact that the context is, again, about Elohim. That's the context. But still, we don't have a blank check. Because everything we ask the Most High, He's not giving to us.
Yeah.
All of the answers that we seek to find out from the Almighty, we might not necessarily find. And every time we want to hear from the Almighty in a particular, as it relates to a particular situation, sometimes he might be quiet. Sometimes he might want a door to be closed and we want it to be open, and we asking and knocking on it, and he's saying, nah, man, I'm not letting you in. This person, Otis Mason, says, so is there a separation of people? Yeah. Yeah. We can see a separation in people because, look, in many ways. Now, if we look at verse 9, he talks about the fact that a man and his son. If a son asks for bread, is he going to be given a stone? So we see a relationship connection there, right? If a son asks for bread, a father will give him bread. But if some kid down the street asks for bread, I might not give him none. I don't know you, man. Go ask your mommy for some bread. Get out of here.
Right.
I don't know you like that, kid. Get out of here. Okay, so in that regard, he brings up the idea of a man and his son. And the man's going to give to his son. Even, and he says it two ways, right? He talks about if he asks for fish, he's going to give him a snake. If he asks for bread, he's going to give him a stone. The father's like that with his son. Even a wicked man. Even a wicked man understand that he's still a man. And he's still going to provide for his son, even if he's wicked. Even a wicked man going to give a good gift to his son. But how much more so, here we go with this Hebraic thing that Messiah, how much more so will your Father who is in heaven give you a good gift if you ask him? If you his son.
Hallelujah. If you his son.
That's why he said it.
Side of the wicked,
That's why he said it, right? He's
like,
giving you the scenario of a father and son situation. And so you want to talk about this separation of people. This is separation of people. If you ain't the son, you don't get the benefits. You don't get inheritance. The kid walking down the street don't get my inheritance. He's not connected to me. He could ask me, and I can bless him if I choose to. I'm not obligated. Right? There's a separation. Right? And so we have to think about now, again. So there's a context. He's going to give the one who asks what they're asking for. He's going to let the person find when they seek. He's going to open up the door if you knock. But there's a caveat still. There's still a caveat. It's still not a blank check. Because the example that he gives is this thing about this father-son relationship. Let's look at a couple verses over here. Let's go over to 1 John 5 and 14. 1 John 5. Let's just read 13 through what verse I said? 14. Let's see 13 and 14.
I have written this to you who believe in the Son, the name of the Son of Elohim, so that you know that you possess everlasting life, and so that you believe in the name of the Son of Elohim. And this is the boldness that we have in him, that if we ask whatever according to his desire, he hears us.
Uh-oh. Is a caveat. Is a caveat. Whatever according to his desire, he hears us. Sometimes we out here asking goofy stuff, and he don't hear us. Because it's not according to his desire.
Yeah.
Please allow me to hit this lottery.
What about the Steelers?
Oh, please, please, Father, just let the Steelers be victorious. Most I don't care about the Steelers game, man. I'm just saying. I like the Steelers, but I'm saying the most I probably ain't a Steeler fan. I'm just saying. he don't care. Oh, Father, please don't let it rain today. I got to work outside.
I'll be praying.
I'm just saying, I got to work outside, but the stuff got to get watered. You know what I mean? He got a bigger plans than just what benefits me necessarily. He might take care of me. He might let it be clouds all around and let there be like a little opening where I don't get as wet or whatever. But the rain got to come though. You know what I mean? He take care of me, but you know what I'm saying? He got other things to do over here. And so it says that, and this is the boldness. Now there's boldness that we have. You could go before him and he's going to give you the things that are according to his desires.
Yeah.
Babe, Ori said that's why umbrellas were made.
Oh my goodness. That's right, because it rains on the righteous and the wicked.
Yeah.
So therefore you just got to get your umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at a couple more of these things over here. Let's look at let's see here. I want to look at let's look at this. Let's look at Psalm 86 and 5. 86. And 5.
Psalm 86, verse 5. For you, Yahweh, are good and ready to forgive in great and loving commitment to all those who call upon you.
Okay, very good. So this is interesting where the Most High, it says, is good. He's ready to forgive. He's great in loving. What's that word? Mercy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He's great in mercy, loving commitment to all those who call upon you. It's people who's out here who's wanting to receive this or that, but they're not calling upon the Most High. And then there's also those who is calling upon the Most High, but they not his son.
That's right.
Here, let's look at Jeremiah 33 and 3. Let's look at Jeremiah 33. Let's get 2 and 3.
Jeremiah 33, verse 2. Thus said Yahweh, who made it, Yahweh formed it to establish it. Yahweh is his name. Call unto me, and I shall answer you, and show you great and inaccessible matters which you have not known.
Over here, remember the Most High talking about giving you the thing that you are seeking. He's talking about giving you the thing that you are asking, that you done knocked, and he's gonna give it to you. And he's going to unlock, he said, and show you great and inaccessible matters.
Inaccessible.
You can put them in the category of being inaccessible because you searched and you wasn't able to easily find it. And then he's able to find it for you. Things that you didn't even know about. You're going to come across, like, wow, it's like that. Because there's a right relationship connected to all of this asking and seeking and knocking. There's a right relationship that's added to all of this asking and seeking and knocking. Yeshua helps us to see this when he talks about the fact that you have this father and son situation. That's a right relationship, a father-son situation. And so when we think about this idea of asking and seeking and knocking, we also have to think about the idea of righteousness. Right? This is something that we can't not have in the equation. If you're not moving according to the way in which the Most High will have for you to be moving, you could ask all you want, but you ain't getting what you asking for, because you got to be part of the family first. He might bless you here and there, but again, it's not out of a divine right that you're receiving any blessings. Once you become part of the family, it's your divine right to receive his blessing.
And can I add something too?
Good.
And also too, like, you could verbally ask for things, you know. I mean, what we're referring to is, you know, vocalizing and you coming up with things that you would ask the Most High for, and it goes hand in hand with your actions. And the best quick analogy I'll give on it is, say you're working on a job and you got people who perform well, who overperform, do things they're not necessarily paid to do. People be like working on a job and just, I'm here for a check, do the bare minimum. But everybody would like to get more money for the job that they're doing. But maybe you go above and beyond. You do more. You just do the things because you just do something because it's the right thing to do. You ain't looking for no acknowledgement or nothing. And you get a promotion. Now everybody can ask for a raise, but you deserve a raise now because of your actions or the acknowledgement of the things that you're doing. Now it deserves a raise, and you don't even got to ask for a raise now. So the way you walk, if you're walking with the Most High and you're following the example that Yeshua set out for us, the things that you ask for come much quicker because you are acting in a way, as you just said, that deserves it. That's you proving that you are in the faith. And so now you are entitled to these things that you asked for because you're answering for them rightly and your actions back it up. Because a lot of times people ask for stuff and it's just using your mouth and you don't have no action behind it to even deserve it. You could ask for something that you could be asking for something that you're going to use inappropriately. It could be the right thing, but you're not ready for it because you're not walking the right way. So we always want to pay attention to, your actions, and after you ask for something, analyze yourself and think about what you're asking for and what all goes, what's behind it. I just wanted to add that.
Yes, very good. Yes, I mean this is exactly what we're talking about over here. When you think about these things that Messiah is sitting over is saying, if you just read what it says and think about its literal meaning, it seems, at the surface level, all you got to do is ask, you're going to get it. All you got to do is seek and you'll find it. All you got to do is knock and it'll be open. But there's things that go along with you getting those things. And it got everything to do with, the fact that are you connected to the Father?
Oh yeah.
Are you connected to the Father? You bring up a good point. Paul talks about the fact that, when you go out here and work, you work as if you working unto the Lord.
Oh yeah.
You do your job not for them, not for that company. You doing it
Yeah.
for the Most High. And so the things that you doing, you're doing it not just, for a check, right? Because you got to have integrity behind all of the things that you do. And so this is the way that we have to operate. But when you think about what it is that Yeshua was talking about, and we're thinking about all of this in its proper context, he's helping us to understand that there is a way that we must be, a way that we must behave, and it's connected to, us receiving from the Almighty. Let's look at some more scriptures over here. Oh, let's see what we got over. Let's go back over here. What's this? Should you ask in honesty? Absolutely, you should ask in honesty. You should do everything in honesty. Then he'll give it. Well, you can be honestly asking for something and maybe not necessarily get it. You can honestly and fervently desire this or that, but that thing needs to be in the will of the Most High.
Oh yeah.
You ask and you do not receive because you ask evilly.
Oh yeah.
Does that really say evilly? Is that a word, evilly?
That's what it says. I was looking at the King James version. I'm like, oh.
Sometimes when you look at a word too long, it just looks funny. But yes, because you ask evilly in order to spend it on your pleasures. Right? That's like them people going on them scratch offs. If I don't know if there's nothing inherently wrong with a scratch off, but I'm not going to pray to the Most High about it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's a lot. And I think the lot just falls in whatever favor.
That's
it's
it.
Falling.
That's it. It's not. Don't get nothing to do with Elohim necessarily. Let's look at some things because I'm saying that there is a prerequisite to asking, seeking, knocking, and you receiving, finding, and something being opened to you. Let's look at.
Can I just say?
Go ahead.
I think that when I think about this for people in the faith, a lot of times people are going through different things, maybe a bad diagnosis, terminal illnesses, things like that. And when people use these verses, I think irresponsibly, it could cause people to think that they don't have a relationship with the Most High because they aren't getting that. They go back to their follow-up appointment. They aren't getting that, prayer answered or whatever.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. I don't know that we're able to really judged necessarily by that necessarily, because sometimes in this physical body is dying from the moment that it comes out of the womb, right? And there is an expiration date on you as soon as you're birthed into this physical realm. And so that necessarily isn't always I'm saying 100% kind of tell whether one has a pure relationship with the Most High.
Yeah.
It could be now. Like, I'm not gonna act like it can't, like it isn't. But I'm saying 100%. I don't think that we could sit up there and say 100%. I mean, I think that it can be that, but I'm not going to just say that it always is that. And so I'm in agreement with what you're saying, because it is kind of a misuse of the verse to sit up there and say, well, you got this diagnosis on you, so you must be in some type of gross iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so in that regard, yes, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm just saying that I think that sometimes it could be that. Unfortunately, sometimes it could be that because of what we're actually looking at over here. So let's look at, I want to look at Isaiah 1:15 through 17.
And when you spread out your hands, I hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right ruling. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow.
Hallelujah. And so we can say sometimes people go to the Father and the Most High got on some blinders. He said in this verse here, I hide my eyes from you, even though you make many prayers, even though you ask a lot. I'm not going to give it to you. Even though you seek a lot, I'm not going to let you find it. Even though you knock a lot, I'm not going to let you hear it. Why? Because there's some reasons over here, right? Your hands became filled with blood. You got into some things that the Most High said you done got into some things that it's not going to work out. So you caused there to be like a little disconnect between, and then I can't hear what you're saying. Right? So this is helping us to understand that there's some fine print on this thing over here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, he said what he said and he means what he said, but it's not just a blank check.
Oh yeah.
Let's look at Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. 58. Let's read 9 and 10.
Isaiah 58, verse 9. Then when you call, Yahweh would answer. When you cry, he will say, here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of the finger and the speaking of unrighteousness, if you extend your being to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted being, Then your light shall draw in the darkness, shall dawn in the darkness, and your darkness be as noon.
Okay, we got some if thens over here, right? He gonna answer you when you crying. He gonna say, "I'm here. I hear you. I see you crying. If you take this thing that's holding you down and keeping you away from me, if you get rid of that thing, if you stop sitting up here pointing at these other people and look at your own self." Well, he said, if you stop pointing of the finger, what in the world? I don't think I read Isaiah 59:8 before. Why am I just? This is just standing out to me right here. He said, if you stop pointing the finger, wow, you better look at yourself. You said looking at these other people. Don't be looking at them people. You look at you.
Michael Jackson made a whole song about it. I know everybody heard it. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson been telling y'all. I just wanted to add that.
That man a prophet, boy. That man was a prophet. You know what I'm saying? He cracking me up. You better stop pointing that finger. And speaking of righteousness, then when you call, I'm going to answer you. Then I'm going to hear you cry. And so Yeshua didn't lie. He didn't lie. He told you all of this, but in a different way. When he told you, it's that father-son thing. It's about relationship. You can't just be out here just getting anything you think you're supposed to get. And just, there ain't no connection between you and I. This is just basic, simple things. Even a wicked man know he's supposed to deal with his son in a particular way. So how much more so your heavenly Father?
Oh, yeah.
If you a son.
If you a son.
What this say over here? He who turns away his ears from hearing Torah, even his prayer is an abomination. Like when you think about something as an abomination, it's like I don't even want to. If you just mention this thing, it's just if you just was to mention this thing to me, it's causing me to stop saying that. Don't show me that. It's an abomination. I just look at a couple more of these things here. Here, hold on, let's see here. Can King Hezekiah of Israel be an example of what you're saying in terms of, what you mean like in terms of receiving from the Most High? Yeah, right? He had an expiration date. He did.
Yes, he did.
And he went before the Most High in righteousness, and he got an extension. He got an extension, right? But it was because of a relationship that he had. Right? And we got to think about these things, right? And so, yes, absolutely. Yes.
I think about, even in terms of like the services of the ministry, it's hard to, people when they come and they don't have a relationship with you, but they want the most sometimes, and it's like, well, can we have a relationship? Can you have a commitment? Can you show that, it's not just what you want, but that you're thinking about more than that,
Yes. It's so important. The most important thing, by the way, it's interesting. Yeshua has this wonderful promise. This is a promise that he has, that he's given. It's a promise. Matthew 7, verse 7 is a promise from Messiah. Ask, and it'll be given. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it'll be open to you. It's a promise. But the fine print is like get right with the Most High so you can get all of these things. Why they say the fine print like to get right with the Most High so you can get all these things that he said. Blah, blah, blah. In the commercial, right? But it's a promise, right? And so we have to have a relationship with the Father. A relationship with the Father. And it got to be a right relationship with the Father so that we can be treated as a son. All right, I want to look at Zechariah. Zechariah 7 verses 9 through 13.
Zechariah chapter 7, verse 9. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, execute true right ruling, show loving commitment and compassion, everyone to his brother. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the stranger or the poor. Do not plot evil in your hearts against one another. But they refused to listen, and they shrugged their shoulders and stopped their ears from hearing. And they made their hearts like flint against hearing the Torah and the words which Yahweh of hosts has sent by his Spirit through the former prophets. Therefore, great wrath came from Yahweh of hosts. So 13, right? And it came to be as he called, and they did not hear. So let them call, but I shall not hear, said Yahweh of hosts.
Okay, yes indeed. So we see over here again. We could go all day with this. Right? Because there needs to be a relationship with the Father. If you have a relationship, He gonna listen. But look what he's saying over here. He's saying, don't oppress the widow or the fatherless, the stranger and the poor. Right? Have compassion, everyone, to his brother. Show loving commitment. Execute true right ruling. He's saying that you need to walk and manifest the character of the Most High. Walking in Torah. Walking in the Ruach HaKodesh. If you're not doing that, then he can't hear you. Because you not hearing him. Right? He said they refused to listen. They shrugged their shoulders. They stopped their ears. They wasn't hearing from the Most High. They wasn't hearing. They wasn't shemaying. They wasn't walking in obedience to the things that the Most High has said for them to be doing. And then so you ain't going to listen to the Most High. He ain't going to listen to you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go back. Let's go back to Matthew and deal with these last couple verses here. Let's go to Matthew 7 and verse 12. Verse 12.
Therefore, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the Torah of and the prophets.
And Luke, we're going to add to that Luke 6 and 31. Luke 6.
Luke 6:31. And as you wish men should do to you, you also do to them in the same way.
Okay, very good. So when we think about this, what he says over here in Matthew, it's interesting when we look at Matthew, he said what he said, ask, seek, knock. Right? He said all that. And then verse 12, therefore. Therefore. So there's a connection. There's a connection between this stuff over here, what he getting ready to say over here, after therefore. There's a connection between the things before and after therefore. He said, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them, for this, that thing there, is the Torah and the prophets. And so it's interesting when you look at this thing. Look, even this, the Eastwards calls this the golden rule. Right? It's interesting, but this thing that Yeshua is saying is not something that is exclusive to Yeshua. It's not something that is exclusive to Yeshua. This thing can also be found in these Jewish writings as early as the apocryphal book of Tobit. Tobit 4:15. Well, let's go over to, let's see.
Tobit 4:15. Do that to no man which thou hatest. Drink not wine to make thee drunken, neither let drunkenness go with thee in thy journey.
This idea, do that to no man which thou hatest. If you hate something, why you gonna do it to somebody else? And as you, Luke said, and as you wish men should do to you, you do also. There's an idea that existed before Yeshua. He's just bringing out this idea. This idea was brought about. There's things that Aristotle said. There's things that Confucius said. There's things that Hillel said. That all have to do with this idea of do you wish, as you wish men should do to you, you do to them also. And so when we think about what that is, right? When you think about what that is, it's really just you. It's the same thing that we're talking about here all along, is in terms of you walking rightly in the character of the Most High. We have to be able to walk in his character. If we do it, if we walk in his character, we're fulfilling the Torah and the prophets. If we walk in his character, we're going to be treating people the way that we would want to be treated. Now, there's some interesting discussions on this as a idea. This idea of as you wish men should do to you, you also do to them in that same way. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. There's different ways that it's said. Some in the positive, some in the negative. The way some of the rabbis talk about it is interesting because they talk about the fact that you in yourself may have a particular set of strengths within yourself. So a thing that you could take, maybe someone else might necessarily be able to take. So if I say I'm going to do unto you as I would have somebody do unto me, it might not necessarily be sensitive to what you're able to withstand, because maybe I'm able to withstand more.
That goes with something that I'll talk about in the podcast for women on positionality, where I can't, a leadership topic is you can't, when you're leading people, you have to consider where they're at. You can't think about everything from your position. You have to consider their position as well.
Yes. Right. And so if I treat others the way I think they want to be treated,
Well, it's the way that you think they want to be treated.
right, in a way that I think is pleasing to them, this is not necessarily pleasing to me. Like the thing that I'm doing, I'm going to treat you in a way that's pleasing to you, and not to me necessarily.
If I was
Because
in your
of-
position, I would be.
I think you flipped it back again now, because you're thinking about, you're putting yourself in that person's shoes. I'm saying that we have to be able to be sensitive to that other person and putting their situation above our situation. And so when we think about, and this is just the argument that they're bringing forth, is that if I'm able to stand beneath a particular weight, I can say that I'm going to treat you the way that I want to be treated. But you may not be able to stand the way in which I'm able to be treated. So that thing may still be too weighty for you. So I have to think about your situation and find you there and deal with you in a way that's palatable and pleasing for you instead of me. And so the idea of loving your neighbor as yourself is actually you're going to do the best things for yourself. Let's just be real about it. You're going to do the best things for yourself.
Yeah.
And then what's left is what the people get. So you need to be able to do unto others the same way that you'll do for yourself. You'll go high and low for things to be the way that you would want for those things to be.
Yeah.
But you need to do those same things for the next person. Yeah. And when you do that, that fulfills the Torah and the prophets. That's what Messiah is saying over here. Right? That when you do that, you're walking in a way that is congruent with the Torah. You're walking in a way that's the Spirit of the Most High is leading you in. Okay, so it's interesting when we look over here at Yeshua, how he kind of ties all of these things together in terms of this quote unquote golden rule, this whatever you wish men to do to you, you do also to them. Because what he's not saying is that if you sit up here and treat me like a certain kind of way, I'm gonna treat you that way. Whatever you wish men to do to you, whatever it is that you want to be receiving, you want for the next person to be receiving that same thing. But this again is the manifestation of the character of the Most High in you. And that's the only thing he's been talking about this whole time. Right? Because the only way you're able to be in the position of being a son is by being in that right relationship with the Father.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that we get into by receiving the Master Yeshua in our lives, by accepting what it is that he has done for us, his redemptive work that he has done for us, so that we're able to be restored in a right relationship with the Almighty and actually be called sons of Elohim. Okay, what do we have over here? Let's see. Cracking up. I can't treat my children how they treat me.
That's right.
What does it say here? So Moshe was a representation of Yah in the time when Israel was in the wilderness. Most definitely. Moshe was he was the picture of the representative. He was like the express representative likeness of the Father
Yep.
to the people.
That's right.
And the people, Israel, were in fact his children, right? And he led the situation. He set up what was to be set up, and then they received what they were to receive when they were able to remain inside of the parameters that were set. And that's the only thing Messiah is saying over here. You're able to live a life that is, you'll get the things that you look for and ask for and desire inside of the will of the Father when you're able to maintain a relationship with the Almighty.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So, are there any? What's this here? If you don't love yourself, well, I think that the issue there would be, again, when you think about what it is that Messiah is saying over here. If you do these things, you're fulfilling the love. You're fulfilling the law, the Torah, and the prophets. It's necessary for us to be able to understand that when we take on Messiah, when we take on the character of the Master through the Ruach HaKodesh, when we allow the Spirit to rule and reign in our lives and lead us and guide us through life, we move beyond these things here, right? This is carnality, right? It's carnality, and it is something that it would be a result of sin in our bodies. When we receive the Ruach HaKodesh living inside of us, we're receiving the love of the Most High in us. And so if the love of the Most High is in us, what is there to not love?
Yeah. There you go.
Right? You cannot love the old man that's inside of you, but that's not who you are anymore when you come to the Master.
Yeah.
And so by all means, don't love yourself if you're talking about the old man, the old self.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, hate that guy.
Yeah.
But love Messiah in you and the Ruach HaKodesh and all that he is calling for you to do and be.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think that's why whenever people come into the community, you gotta help them to figure out loving or getting to that spiritual mind and loving themselves and getting out of that survival mode so that they can start helping the work of the ministry and the community.
Yeah.
Because you know, a lot of times people come out and they're in survival mode, and rightly so. We live in this society that it costs $4 to buy eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Or $4 for a gallon of gas. So you know, rightly so, people are trying to survive. But when it comes to the community, you know, even if we have a gathering or go away for Sukkot, you know, small events, you know, it's coming together and thinking about other people
Yeah.
for that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. And so it's a big thing. I think when we look at these verses and kind of cap it off and put everything together, understanding that there are things for us to have and receive
Right.
from the Most High. He's got all kinds of
Great
things
thing.
that are just waiting for us to be given and for us to find and to be opened to us. All types of things. But first and foremost, we need to solidify our relationship with the Father
Yep.
so that we can receive those things. Because otherwise, we won't. It's as simple as that. And so Yeshua said all of these things. I'm saying he said all of these things so that we understand that we have to have a relationship with the Father so that we're able to get all of these things that he has just waiting for us.
Yeah.
And if we don't connect with the Most High, then Matthew 7 and 8 don't apply to us. It don't apply to you. Right? It's only a blank check for those who are part of his purposes. Okay? All right, so does anybody have any last questions, thoughts, comments before we go ahead and be done for now? Cracking me up. All right, so that being said, we're going to go ahead and be done for now. Thank everyone for all of your comments and additions to the conversation.
Hallelujah.
Hopefully you all remembered to share the video. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Convince all of your friends to subscribe. Tell them how much fun we have over here talking about these scriptures and learning about the Master Yeshua
Hallelujah.
and the Almighty. Y'all willing, we'll be back on next Shabbat and do this all over again. And for now, we'll say Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.